Okay, hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be going through the voter's view. So we're going through all the features that the voter has on the system, and this will be on the desktop views. Alright, so once again, this electronic voting system with biometrics authentication, and let's get into it. So as a new voter, I open the login page, and obviously I won't be able to log in because I don't have an account, so I have to register an account. So I'll go to register as a new voter. This pops up this page that's more like a form. You fill in all the required details, of which all details except the address are mandatory. You can see that with the star, the asterisk on the side. Alright, so let's go from the top. So we have first name. We fill in the first name. So going with Sherlock, and you guessed it, Holmes. First name, last name sorted. So the unique voter ID is just a unique ID that will be assigned to the voter for him to be eligible. Be so we're looking at something like in some countries they have voters card. We will have just like we have driver's license and some other licenses. The voters card will have a unique ID. So that's what I'm expecting here. So it's just a few to keep a unique ID that will be monitored behind the scene, making sure that nobody has duplicates. Oh, and yeah, in future works, there might be things to add into it, maybe validating the ID issued or something like that. So in this case, I'm going to go with, let's go VI voter ID. Let's go. I would have done 007, but I'm feeling like doing 3 zeros. Okay, so for email, we give a valid email address. That's the basics. And so I have at least the @ sign and like that. So let's go with S underscore homes at mail.com. Okay. Phone, you can just do something C plus 4 Okay, fine. Okay, address. Since I'm going with Sherlock Holmes, let's just do it to 1B Baker Street, London. Yeah, from the movie. Okay, so date of birth. So there's a validation of date of birth. So date of birth, you need to be above 18 years old as at the day of registering. So there's a calculation that's done when you give the date of birth, and then you're being provided with an error message if the calculation yields that you're not up to 18 years old. So I will just go with let's see, let's go and be wild. Let's go to 2000. Very first day of the month. Yeah, 1st January 2000. That's fair enough. Username. Okay, sure. Use the same as underscore Holmes and the password. So back to this, just like in previous videos, would have noticed that there's always the criteria that pops up. So this gives you username. So username, the only criteria there is minimum of 5 characters, which has alphanumeric and underscores are allowed. Okay, so let's just do that. So I think that's fine. Password, so minimum of 8 characters, at least one uppercase, letter, one lowercase, one number, and one special character. So I have something that works. Okay, so based on my eye test, I think everything is fine. So let's go to this. Register as a voter. Voter registered successfully. Okay, so that's awesome. That's awesome. So now um what do you call it? My user ready, and I can use that to log in now. So let's type it in and sign in. So you can either press enter or you click on sign in. Okay. So there's a pop-up that says Hello, remember this, you need to register your biometrics before you can have access to vote in an election. That's the pop-up reminder. Alright, so that's what happens when you go into the environment for the first time. So because the election is based on having you authenticate your biometrics, in order to authenticate it, you need to have it registered. So that's where the registration process comes in. So right now, if you look on the left, you have access to dashboard and votes. So you can actually check up an election and say, okay, what's the update here? I want to see what's up, who's leading, what's the table like, who's the leading candidate, oh, it's this guy, oh, congrats to him. You can view other stuff, but you cannot vote. So every time you go to the dashboard, you get reminded, you need to vote, you need to vote, you need to vote. Okay, so that's that. So now, how do you register your biometrics? So on the dashboard, there's this shining and very obvious button that is calling for your attention. It's called the register biometrics button. So once you click on that, it triggers a call to an API that basically handles biometrics using your device's capabilities. So on you could be using a smartphone, a laptop, or something, as long as it has a biometrics um, device either attached or embedded on your system, you should be able to access this. So if by case I'm working on this laptop and I have access to biometrics using both fingerprints and facial recognition. So I'm going to use that to register my biometrics. So now you can see the status is not registered and I can register. So if I click on this, it pops up and this is me creating the biometrics as a passkey for this particular user. So let's create this. So he asked me, okay, what mode am I going to use it? So let's use fingerprint. Okay, so I'm implementing my fingerprint. Oh, I have to clean the surface to make sure everything's fine. Okay, that's finally found me. And once that's done successfully, the biometric and they have the pop-up saying the biometric registration is successful. So once you do this, the page refreshes and voila, there's no red flag telling me that I need to register biometrics. And if you look on the left, there's a new guy, a new kid on the block. It's called the elections. The elections. So now you have your um, biometrics registered. You can have access to elections. And as an extra bonus, anytime you go to the dashboard, you won't have that pop up telling you have to register your biometrics. You have to register your biometrics. So it will be automated. So always remember to register your biometrics. So we'll go again. Hello Sherlock. You can do this. You can have your dashboard. You can go to the elections. You can vote. You can check the vote. So let's go into the election. So we've got the election. Pick this election that I have access to, and you can. The next step is to view the candidates. So let me just knock this off here. So the next page is to view the candidates. So that's the step. You go to your elections, select from the drop down what are the candidates I would love to view. What is the election? Let's go right again, just one more time. Select the election from the drop down, view candidates. So it gives you all the candidates for this particular election. So for the world president election 2025, an election to select the next president of the world, we have this candidate. So let's go over all of them. So we have the pictures, the names, a little bit information about them and their party. So all this, if you watch the admin video, is the same data that the admin that set up. It's the same data, but on the voter side, they're seeing everything at a glance. So you have all these guys available for this test phase. I actually put a lot of candidates, but it's fair enough. Some elections might have as much, some elections might have just few candidates. So once you go through all the details and you feel like, okay, I need to go through it all over again, and you're at the bottom, you can click the back to top button, scrolls you quickly back to the top, and you can go over it and be like, okay, who do I choose? Who do I choose? So in this scenario, I'm just going to go with let's go with Donald Trump. Yeah, he's a good guy. You can make him the president of the world. So just for test, just for testing. So after you've selected somebody, you can then vote. So I'll do something just quickly. If you do not pick anybody, I try to vote. There's a 1 year post, so no candidate selected. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back, pick Donald Trump, and then vote. So what pops up next is for you to authenticate your biometrics. So there's a header at the point saying, okay, for this election, you are voting for Donald Trump. Just gentle reminder for who you're voting for before you authenticate your vote. So you authenticate biometrics. I'm going to do the same thing. When you click on the button, it triggers a call to your um, systems, biometrics features, and gets in the, but this time you're not registering, you are kind of like verifying the biometrics that you've provided earlier. So I'm going to authenticate the votes. Does the pop-up? Okay, it's going to check for me. I'll provide my fingerprint again. It's found me. Yes, authentication successful. I'm happy. And now the button is there for me to vote. So this is the last step. So once I vote, I have voted. So I would like to do something, just a quick one. Let me return. Before I vote, I like to go through this. If you can see, even from the table view right now, the votes are just 2 votes for Duma Gideon Boko, and that's all. You can see it on the table too, and the files and everything. So I'm going to make sure, for the sake of making my vote count, I just want to make sure. Right now, I'm the only one on the system. If I have a lot of people on the system, we'll have votes pouring in multiple times, but at least I just want to make sure that my vote actually counted. So I can see that yes, it's just 2 votes only across everything. So let's go back to the election and try to vote again. So I said I'll be voting for Donald Trump for this. Selecting, vote, authenticate my votes, provide my fingerprint. It recognizes me, good. Authentication successful, and then I can vote. Say thank you for voting. Check vote section for updates. Yeah, takes me back to the dashboard. And yeah, so now I can check an update. So I'm expecting 2 votes for Duma Gideon Boko and 1 vote for Donald Trump. So let's see. Yeah, you can see it at a glance from the horizontal bar. It's taking effect. Donald Trump has 1 vote. Duma Boko has 2 votes. So I can check in vertical bar, similar thing, line graph, similar thing, donuts, similar thing. So donut has the mix of the colors, letting you know, okay, blue is for Duma Boko, donut chop is this kind of like teal color. So then polar area, this is what it looks like. Of the breeder, yeah, and pie chart if you want. The table view shows it's 2 votes, and donut chop is down here with 1 vote, and still the leading candidate is Duma. I can view here. Okay, that's how the votes work. So an extra feature is this. You could be asking, what if I want to trick the system? What if I want to vote again? So this is what happens when you try to vote again. I say I want to vote for somebody else. It could be the same Donald Trump, it could be somebody else. Try to vote, tell me, hold up, previously voted, you can't do this. So it takes me back. So I can actually come back to this page and view all the candidates and just read about them again if I want, but I cannot vote more than once. Yeah, so that covers the voting process. Okay, so lastly, what else can the voter do? The voter can update his password similar to what an admin can do, and the voter can update his contact info. So I can just make a, let's see, I switch to 21B Baker Road this time in Oxford. just playing around a bit. No updates, and it's updated. So I can check it here from the overview. That's there. I can check it on my dashboard. Yeah, I just mentioned in dashboard, but I can check here the overview that the previous data is updated. So let's go back to the actual address for Sherlock Holmes. Okay, contact info updated successfully, and that's that. Yeah. So that's that in total for what the voter can do. Dashboard to view some key information, elections to go through the election process and cast a vote, um, vote section to view the votes for a particular election, settings to make changes to the password or contact information as seen here, and then lastly being able to sign out. So I'm going to sign out this time. So there's one more feature I would like to show, and I'll be talking you through it while it goes on. So there's an extra feature on this system that actually makes sure, especially for security, that you don't get caught off guard. So there's a timeout feature on the system which has been set to 1 minute. So I'm hoping that in the next, let's say, 30 seconds, it should show, because I've left it dormant. I've not moved on the screen for any not made any movement on the screen for the past 30 seconds. So in the next 30 seconds it should show. So I'll just wait for it to show, then I can see the pop-up, how it reacts, and I can let the system know if I am actually going to continue or if it should just log me out. Okay, so this covers an overview of what the system looks like, and there it is. So once the session timeout comes up, it timer comes up 1 minute. After 1 minute of no activities, as bottom up pops up, you have 15 seconds to choose. So I'm going to let it time out and log me out. So hello guys, so this is my session timer triggering a session expiration and logs me out. So that's an added feature, just to protect um your account basically. And so that logout takes me back to the home page, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that's me signing out. So see you in the next video.